Hi everyone, thanks for joining me on this live video today. This is the first time I'm attempting to have an Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube live, and I'm using two devices for this live. So please, if you see any awkwardness or anything like that, just pardon me. Try and bear with me as I'm trying to figure this whole live thing out. So I recently started a series where I've been talking about preparing to walk down the aisle with confidence. And I did the first video where I talked about building your support system as a way of preparing. My second video was about dealing with the conflicts that arises when you're planning your wedding. Now, today, this is the third video in this series, and today I want to talk about how do you know that he or she is the one. I mean, it goes without saying, if you're going to walk down the aisle with confidence, then the thing that will give you that confidence is knowing that the person you have chosen to walk down the aisle with is the right person. But the big question is, how do you know for sure that the person you're walking down this aisle with is the right person? So that's today I just want to share some ideas on how to answer this question. I mean, if you're a young person and you're single, you probably have been asking yourself, okay, so all these people I'm meeting now, how do I know that how do I know when I meet the right person? But if you're a mature person, you're a mature single, you probably be asking yourself that question of how to know the right person. And also a second question that might be coming to your mind is, have I missed the right person? Has the way I acted in the past made me sort of overlook the person that I should be with currently? Well, for me, that I'll just share my story quickly. For me, I also had that question on my heart because I really wanted to get married when I was 25. 25 came and went. I wasn't married. I began to ask myself, have I said no to the right person? And what I did was that I then began to reflect on my life and think, okay, have all the people that have approached me in the past that I said no to, can I actually spend the rest of my life with them? And my answer was no. Once I gave myself that answer, no, it gave me peace. So if you're in any of these categories, you're a single person, you're looking to be married, you're looking to identify the right person for yourself, this video is definitely for you. Please hang on to the end because I believe you're going to be able to learn one or two things from this video. Okay, so the first thing I would like to address before I really go into this video is there one person that we can marry? Even there's this whole issue of how do I find the one? And people sort of struggle with the question of is there a one, or are there a group of people that I can get married to? In fact, I have a friend of mine who wrote a book obsessed about finding the one. So this whole issue of finding the one, like, is such a big deal. How do I know that this is the person? And is there just one person? If I miss this person, have I missed out on marriage, and have I missed out on this thing that I want to do? I'm going to start with Derek Prince. I don't know if you know this preacher called Derek Prince. He wrote a book called God is a Matchmaker. This is a really beautiful book where he shares his story about meeting a woman, and not necessarily meeting a woman, but he shared his story about how God led him to his wives. He actually married two women in his lifetime. He married the first wife, and when she died, he married another wife. And according to this book, God matched him with those two wives. So the idea he shares is that God can lead you, that there is a one for you, and God can lead you to that one. But my question about this book is, okay, is it that there were two for him and one had to wait till later in his life so that she can then catch up, to be the second one for him? So for me, this whole idea of this very one singular one, that's your wife and all of that, I don't really buy into that idea. Although if that's an idea that you pursue, that's good for you, please carry on. I'm not trying to dissuade you from that. I'm just sharing my ideas. And I feel like there's no specific one for anybody. I believe that there are a group of people within which each person can choose from who will be their life partner. Within each person can choose among that group who will be their life partner. For instance, the Bible says that do not be unequally yoked. You have Abraham, when Abraham even sent his servant to go and seek out a wife for his son Isaac, he said, go to my people and choose. He didn't send him to a specific person. So as he went within that group of people, God led the servants to a specific person. So I believe that's the way to approach finding the one, looking within the group, which is within the faith, within the body of Christ. One thing that's really important in terms of finding the one, you want someone that shares your faith. You want someone that shares your beliefs, because whatever your faith is, you want someone with a similar faith or a similar belief, because having differences in this sort of core aspect of a person can lead to different issues that you really don't want to go through when you get married. Yeah, so when he went to those group of people that God led him to, that his master Abraham led him to, God then showed him a specific person to choose within the group. So for me, I believe that getting married and seeking to find the one, the first place to begin with is your faith, and is looking for people that share the same spiritual beliefs and the same faith with you, because that's at the core of each person's identity. Another thing is, so I believe that if, for instance, let's say you're married and you happen to be watching this, if you're a believer and you've gone to marry someone that's not sharing your faith or is not up to the level of your faith, I believe the Bible also says that the believing spouse sanctifies the unbelieving spouse. So it's not something to despair about. It's just something to believe and to understand that you as a believer, or you at the level where you are sanctifying your unbelieving spouse, and of course work with the person to grow, and your aim should be showing love and showing grace to the person, not sort of condemning and saying, oh, you're not saved, you're this, you're that, sort of pointing fingers at them, because that's not going to help your relationship. In essence, my belief is that there's a pool of people that can suit you, and it's your responsibility to identify and marry one of them with the help and guidance of God. So it's a journey that you go along, that God helps you along the journey, but there's a pool of people that you can choose from, and anyone and as God leads you, hopefully you'll be able to choose the right person. And when you choose from that pool, generally speaking, it should be the right person. So when I say a pool, if you're a Christian, of course, it's very important, and it's priority that you get married to a Christian, in order to, it just saves you lots of stress in the future. The second thing I would like to say in terms of finding the one, is also important to know whether you are ready to be married. There's a difference between being ready for marriage and having a strong desire to be married. For me, like I said earlier on at the beginning, my desire was to get married at the age of 25. And when I got to 25, I actually sat down to reflect, and I asked myself, am I ready to be married? And my answer was no. Because at 25, I was studying, I was doing different things. I just felt like I wasn't really in a place of peace and confidence to be married. And I ended up getting married when I was close to 30. And at that point, when I met my husband, he proposed and I said yes. I felt a strong sense of peace that this was the right time. Sometimes you meet the right person, but if you then go into that relationship and try to get married to them at the wrong time, it could lead to its own issues. So there's not just the question of the right person, there's the question of the right person and at the right time. When these two things come together, it always makes for a beautiful union. Being in the right relationship at the wrong time can cause the right person to seem like the wrong person. It could be that maybe the level of maturity we need to be able to accept the person that's right for us, we are not there yet. For instance, if I had met my husband when I was 19 or 20, I don't think that I would have even noticed this guy, because Even the way he would have been looking, he would probably still have been studying, and I would have been saying, oh, I want somebody that is established, I want somebody that is this, somebody that is that, and we might not have connected in the way that we connected when at the time when I met him, where I felt like, yes, at this point in time, I'm really ready to be married. For women, I'm just going to emphasize this point about being ready a little bit more, specifically for women, because when you're a woman, by biology, when you get married, the next thing is you then decide whether or not you want to have kids. And in having kids, your life changes. Marriage changes people. And for women, it changes us in a drastic way, in the sense that sometimes when you have a child, it might cost you aspects of your career. Not every aspect, and not all women face this. But for some women, you then have a choice to make. It might slow down your career for a while. You might have to take a break, or some people just keep powering on. But one thing I've observed is that if the few people I know, and within my limited experience, I've seen that if a woman hasn't fully understood what she wants to do career-wise before she gets married, if she doesn't get married to someone that can really help her find that path and go that way, or maybe both of them are young, they're in the same place where they haven't really found themselves, and they work together to find themselves and find a good career path for themselves, it can be challenging and it can be derailing. So for women, what I'll say to you is work on identifying your career, identifying the path that you want to take. If it's a job, look for a job, try and get a job. Of course, I know, depending on your context, depending on the economy where you find yourself, this can be challenging, but it will be very important if you can sort of establish yourself, or even if you haven't found all those things, just know what you want to do. Even if it's self-employment, be self-employed. Sorry, my phone is messing up for my Insta live. Yeah, so even if it's self-employment, get get know the type of business you want to go in, and have that focus for yourself. Understand yourself, not just your desires to be married, but also your career, your purpose, your pursuit, so that it might be, so that if you do that, it will then put you in a position of either you've then discovered your purpose and you're working in it, and when you get married, you just carry on pushing. When you have a child, if you're someone that can carry all of those things alone and keep going, you just keep going. And if it's a case where you have to pause for a bit in when you're having children, you know that when you go back, you know exactly what you're going back into. So for women, I'll strongly advise you, if you're single, you have an opportunity to identify yourself, know your career, know your purpose. If you're going to be doing self-employment, whatever you're doing, you have the opportunity to sort of sort those areas out before you then add a partner and then add children to your life, so that when they come on, it doesn't derail you so much. The third thing I'd like to share is this issue of having a list. So many people have lists. So when you want to get married, there's this whole thing about the list. I'd like to hear from you. If you have a list, or you had a list, what do you think about this whole thing of having a list? Because personally, I'll say that it's not really the best. Having reflected on it, for me, before I got married, I didn't really have a list. I had values that I would have liked my husband to have, and I just felt like when I meet the person, I'm going to know at the end of the day. So I didn't really go ahead to have a list, but then I had ideas of what I'd like my marriage to be, and I had a vision and goals for my relationship, for my marriage. So the issue I really have with the list is that it's all about what you can get. It's about me, and it's what the person I'm inviting to my life can give me. This whole thing, I really began to think about it recently after a friend of mine on Facebook posted something and about this whole list, and one of the comments in someone commented and said that this list thing is a selfish idea. And I thought about what they said, and I agree with them. It's kind of selfish because you're thinking what you can get from the person you're getting married to. But you see, the thing about marriage is that it's all about giving. Once you stop giving in your marriage relationship or in any relationship in your life, you notice that that relationship will start dying and you'll start fizzling out. For instance, during courtship, you're both giving each other your time. You're going out on dates, you're doing things together, you're talking on the phone, you're doing video calls. If you're doing video calls, or you're doing things to sort of keep the relationship going. You're forgiving each other easily. In fact, some things they do, you overlook them because you're so in love that it doesn't really matter to you. You're being kind to each other, you're going out of your way to do things for each other, you're being faithful to each other, you're not cheating. Hopefully, some people cheat in courtship, they still go ahead and get married. If they're cheating on you, please escape, make a run for it. But anyway, yeah, so you're doing all of these things to keep the relationship warm. Even some people that are serial cheaters, you find that when they meet the person they want to get married to, before they get married to the person, they will be so faithful. Everyone around them will be surprised. Why? They are investing in the relationship, and it's what they are giving to that relationship that's making it what it is, that's making it thrive, that's making it blossom. But once you find out that the moment you stop doing these things, the moment you stop giving to a relationship, say for instance, if you're watching this, you're married, or you're courting, you've met someone, you're planning to get married, think about if you guys stop talking, if you guys stop doing things for each other, if you just lived your lives individually, that relationship is going to fizzle out and it's going to die. There are going to be all manner of issues. But if you're always talking, you're always communicating, you're always connecting, you're buying things for each other, you're spending time with each other, you're going out, you're having fun. As you're doing all of these things, the stronger your bond and your connection gets. So why I'm giving this example is that it's all about giving. It's not necessarily about taking and receiving, because if you're taking and you're not giving, you're going to make the person, your partner, is going to be tired of the relationship with you as well. So for me, I'll suggest, if you have a list and you're trying to find the one, let go of that list. Another reason why I'll say let go of that list is that on this list, lots of frivolous, unimportant things can be there. Or sometimes you can be so detailed that is just, in fact, you will need to create the person you are looking for. There's this joke that about this woman that was trying to identify the man for herself, and she was going in a building, and on each level of the building, she'll find different types of men with different types of characteristics, and she kept going. She went to the sixth floor, she didn't meet the person that fits her list. This is the thing with the list. How would you find someone that meets your criteria? Sometimes you might have so many frivolous things. Sometimes it might be so detailed that you have to sculpt that person together. And God is so wonderful in how he creates people, because there are some characteristics that do not go together. If you look at personalities, different people's personalities, you see that those that do personality psychology, they always give weaknesses for certain strengths. So people that have certain strengths, there are weaknesses that come with the strengths, because one strength cannot be, you can't be strong in all areas. There are certain characteristics that do not go together. So if you're making a list and you're making all these things for the person you want to be with, it's highly likely that you won't find a lot of the qualities you're putting together. Because by virtue of the person having some strengths, they will not have others, because there are some weaknesses that come with certain strengths naturally. So that's why this whole idea of the list, I'd like to dissuade you from it. Instead of having a list of wants, why not develop a list of values? Identify values that can create a long-lasting relationship, and make those values what drives you as you search for the one. Values are things that are important to you, things that inform your decisions, things that inform your choices, your lifestyle. And when you make a decision that does not align with your values, you feel uneasy, you feel edgy, you feel uncomfortable, and like you're not being true to yourself. So the important thing about using values and identifying your values and building values within yourself that make for a lasting relationship is that this now becomes, should I say, your compass to navigate, to be able to identify when you meet somebody, whether that person is the right person for you or that person is someone that you don't want to be in a relationship, someone that you cannot spend the rest of your life with. Because by virtue of having certain values, people that don't share your values, you automatically know that that's not the person for you. For instance, if you develop the right values and value system, you're likely to be attracted to someone with similar values, and also to choose someone with those values. And in turn, you'll be uncomfortable getting into an intimate relationship with someone who does not share your values. If kindness is important to you and you meet someone that's rude, someone that's rude and condescending, you won't want to be in an intimate relationship with the person, because you'll be uncomfortable being around that person, and you'll be uncomfortable because being kind is important to you, and you're seeing that they are not being kind. In as much as you might respect the person, but you keep a distance from that person because they don't share your values. So instead of having a list of looking for stuff from other people or from the person you meet, I'm encouraging you to know the values, your own values, identify them, make a list of that values, find out some values that are important for building long-lasting relationships, and begin to develop those values within yourself. By doing that, you will find that you will then be attracted to people with shared values, with similar values to yours. So what are these values that make for a long-lasting relationship and long-lasting marriage? Being trustworthy, being faithful, being kind, being patient, being forgiving, having faith, and having should I say, let me just call it religion. Being someone that has a religion, that's a person of faith. If you're a person of faith, you really don't want to mingle with someone that does not share your faith. And also being generous. You don't even want to find yourself married to somebody that's not generous. And you yourself, you don't want to be somebody that is stingy, because whoever marries you is going to have a hard time with you. And commitment is also another very, very important value to make for a long-lasting relationship, and being able to know and accept that you can be wrong sometimes, and being able to apologize and make amends. This is also a very, very important area. Some people, hello Ale, hello Titomi, and hello Sam, thanks for joining the live show today. Hello Miss Lafunke, I can see you, thanks for joining. So this whole thing of being able to recognize that you're wrong sometimes and apologizing is so important. You need to firstly identify that in yourself, develop that value. Some people, sometimes, I don't know if you're one of those people that you always feel like you're right, or you find it so difficult. If someone tells you this thing you did is wrong, you find you'll be so hurt, you look down on yourself, you'll be so grieved and all those things, to the point where, in fact, some people, they get angry when you tell them you're wrong, to the point where nobody can talk to you, nobody can correct you. You'll be an annoying spouse. An annoying spouse to be with, because really the thing with marriage is a journey of forgiveness. You have to keep forgiving almost every day. Things will happen that you understand, things will happen that you don't understand. Your spouse will annoy you. I've said this before. Some people, it's toilet seats that's causing their problem. Somebody left the toilet seats up, somebody did not close the toilet seat. Some people, it's toothpaste. You press the toothpaste from the center, you press it from the edge, all these type of things. There are sometimes it's the little things that make for great annoyance. So you don't even want to be in a situation where, if someone tells you what you've done, I don't like it, you get so angry, instead of acknowledging that you've hurt their feelings and being able to apologize. So this is a very important value to have. Also, exactly, Ale, forgive, apologize, and move on is very important. So that's a value that you need to develop within yourself, because by developing these values, it will help you find the right person. I know the whole thing, maybe when you saw this topic of finding the right person, you thought it would be all about, I'll give you a list of how the right person should be. Fine, all these values I'm saying, the right person should have these values, but in order for you to find them, you yourself have to have these values. You also have to be the right person, because if you don't have these values but you want someone that has these values, you want someone to come and suffer with you? No, nobody wants to have a bad deal. In as much as you want a good deal, the person you're looking to get married to also wants a great deal as well. So the best way to identify and get the right person on board is to develop your own values, because that will help you navigate and identify the right person. Financial management is also very important. It's one thing to earn money, and it's another thing to manage the money you earn. There's some people, they earn a lot, but they're in so much debt that at the end of the day, at the end of the month, they hardly have anything to put back, to save, or even to just live well. So it's very important to learn how to manage your finances. That's another value, financial management, and also prioritizing the marriage relationship and the family relationship. What I'm about to say now, I've said it in one of my previous videos, but it's something that really, like, I feel so strongly about that. I feel like I really want to repeat it again. And it's about prioritizing this family, prioritizing your spouse. For me, I believe that in terms of priorities, it's God first, your personal relationship with God first. And then what comes second is your relationship with your spouse. There's this guy, one of my mentors that I love a lot. His name is Jimmy Evans. He's an amazing marriage minister. And one of the things he says that I've imbibed for my life, I've taken on board, is that marriage works best when it's taken as priority. If your marriage is the second thing, and when I say your marriage, I'm not talking about the whole family, your children as well. I'm talking about your relationship with your spouse. If you reduce it in priority, then it leaves room for issues. If hanging out with your friends is more important than your marriage relationship, if your job is more important than your marriage relationship, if your children are more important than your marriage relationship, is opening that relationship to issues. So one of the values that I'll encourage you that's planning to get married to develop is how to prioritize your relationship with your partner, your marriage relationship, understanding the importance of that relationship, understanding the place that it should take, and understand that it's priority after your relationship with your partner. Now, there's this whole idea that some people have of oh, guys, I saw this video where someone was talking about projects, that the guy sees the woman as a project. He chases her. He does all of those things. After he has found her, he has put her in the bag. He has met that target of his project. Then he moves on to looking for other things. If you're a guy watching this, please, if that's your mindset, please just erase it. Searching for a woman is not a project. Finding your wife and then living with her, building a life with her is not a project, is a lifestyle, is a lifetime thing. So if you're going to prioritize a woman during the courtship phase, then please, you should prioritize her all through the marriage. And same goes for women. If you're going to prioritize your husband during courtship, when you meet him and things like that, as people are getting to know each other, prioritize them through the marriage. When you have kids, your kids should not take the place of your husband, although it's obvious that in those early days, because children need a lot of attention, there's so much to do. So you might need to prioritize because you have to do so much for the child. But as the children get older, you get them to be independent, to be able to do things for themselves, so that your husband can take their right place, and then they are not dragging a place with children. If you have a list, so back to the whole thing of having a list. If you have a list of values that you will develop within yourself. So I'd like to encourage you, based on this whole thing of list and values, take out time to think about your current values, identify your values, make a list of them. What are your values at this point in time? And also identify the values that you'd like to add to this list that can help you, that you'd like to develop as you plan and prepare to get married. Because by identifying and articulating your values, it helps you choose the right person, and it helps you prepare to be married, and it gives you that confidence. Because if you meet someone that doesn't share your values, you automatically know that this is not the right person for me. The fifth thing I'm going to share is about vision. Another alternative to having a list is having a personal vision in relation to your marriage. Now, there's this whole idea where coaches encourage people to have vision for their lives. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 20 years? Now, for a lot of people, it's easy for them to do this with their career and with their life in general. But when it comes to marriage, have you taken the time to plan to write out a vision for your marriage? Even if you're married, it's also helpful to have a vision for your marriage relationship. I mean, if you do it before you get married, then it's something that you can do and would also help you after you've gotten married. So I'm going to advise you, say, take time out to develop a vision that helps you to understand yourself, and your future at a deeper level. And it will also help you to take deliberate steps to achieving that vision. Now, what this vision will do for you is that when you have a vision, Bible says, write a vision, make it plain that you might run with it. When you write it down and you have it, it then serves, should I say, as a navigating tool, just as your values would also serve. So that if you meet someone that doesn't help you towards meeting that vision, you know that automatically this person is counted out. But when you meet someone that fits into the vision and the plan, you know that, oh, fine, yes, I can take this person on board. Yes, it then sort of gives you that clarity to know that, yes, this is the right person for you. In developing a vision for your marriage, I'll ask you, and also developing your values, what I'll say is, do it through prayer. It's something that you should pray about and ask God to guide you. Ask God what's his own vision for you for marriage. Just take some time out, spend some quiet time, whether it's 1 hour, whether it's 45 minutes. Don't make it too long, because sometimes when you make it too long, it can be overwhelming. So just take time out to make some notes and write some things as to the vision that you want for yourself. You can pray about it and let God lead you and guide you. Make a note of those things, and I believe that will guide you as you search for the right person. In terms of writing your vision, it gives you a roadmap to follow. It helps you to avoid distractions and detours, people that will come to sort of derail you from where you're going to. If someone comes to you, they don't fit into the picture, the vision that God has given you and that you've meditated upon, that you've articulated, you can automatically know that, actually, sorry, you're not the right person for me. I wait for the right person for me. In your vision, the kind of things you write there is, what sort of marriage do you want to have? What sort of person do you want to be after you get married? Now, this is very important. This issue of identifying the type of person that you want to be after you get married, because marriage changes people, because of the additional responsibilities you have, and because of the level of intimacy that you're going to have with your partner. It's something that will change you, because your partner will have a high level of influence on your life because of how close to you. Having children will influence how you see the world, how you view things, how you view yourself. So you want someone as part of your vision. When you write the person you want to be after you get married, you can then ask yourself, if you meet someone that's proposing to you, would I still be able to achieve this being with this person? Would I be able to be the person that I want to be, staying with this person, getting married to this person, being in a relationship with this person? Is it leading me to the vision that God has given me? So that's also very important. And so also, another thing you can write is the lifestyle that you'd like to have after you get married, the type of children you want to raise, how you want to raise your children, and the key elements that you want to see in your marriage. I believe that lots of people, almost all of us, we have these things in our mind. We think about it sometimes we don't think about it. What I'm just encouraging you to do is, if you're in a place where you're seeking to meet the one, to find the one, take out some time, prayerfully write a vision for your marriage. Now, one thing that I feel like is very, very important for me to say here is knowing when to call it quits. In looking to find the right person for yourself, you might have to end the relationship that you're currently in. So, for instance, if you write down your vision, you do your values, you develop yourself, and then you find out that the person you're in a relationship with is not the person that you should be with, whether it's through your vision and your values, or whether it's just a strong feeling that you have that you're making a wrong decision being with this person. You need to know when to call it quits. For me personally, I believe that it's never too late to end a relationship. Now, some people feel like, I've heard stories of some people when they're walking down the aisle, on their wedding day, they realize that they are making a mistake. They still go ahead and marry the person. They find out that a lot of people are trying to derail them from that relationship. They are saying, don't marry this person. We don't think this person is right for you. In their hearts, they start to question, actually, I'm not sure this person is right for me. They still go ahead and marry the person. Now, what I'd encourage you to do is that in order to find the right person for you, you need to also be able to identify the wrong person for you. And beyond identifying the wrong person for you, you also need to be able to end that relationship when it's time to call it quits. You need to know when it's time to end it and end it, even if you've delayed. So for me personally, my thoughts are that if you are at the altar, you're saying your vows, in the middle, when they ask you the question, will you take this man or this woman as you're lawfully wedded? And the answer that enters your head is no. My brother, my sister, verbalize that no. Speak it out and leave that place. Carry your shoe on your hand and run away. Because for me, one of the greatest fears I've had in life, and I think that's what even motivates this Wise Attraction show, is getting married to the wrong person. I feel like that's one of the worst things ever, because I just imagine someone is 30 and then they end up getting married, and then you marry someone that treats you so bad, is so cruel and horrible to you, that for the next 20 years or for the next 10 years or 15 years, you can't even remember what you did with your life. It was just empty and pointless. You can't think of anything good. You now end up with midlife crisis because of, some people in good marriages anybody can have midlife crisis. But what I'm just saying is that you end up depressed at the end of the road because you feel like your life has been pointless. See, it's not worth it. At any point in time where you find out that the person you're trying to get married to is the wrong person, end it. It's better to be single, at peace and happy and have a vision and a goal than to be in a relationship where you're miserable, you're depressed, you don't know where your life is headed, you can't even put a finger on things because you now even start looking confused to your friends. Some people end up with mental health issues because of the person they are with. It's not worth it. Even if you're not planning to get married to this person, you're just in a relationship and you find that they are wrong for you, find that they are bad for you, make a way of escape. What I'm thinking is, even if you've said the vows, you've said, yes, I do, and you've entered the car with your husband or your wife and you guys are driving off and it comes to your mind, this is the wrong person, I don't want to be married to this person, tell the driver, please turn around, go back to that pastor and tell the pastor that actually I don't. Or if you don't have the guts to tell the driver, you're telling driver, turn around, driver is saying, Oga, what's happening? Madam, what's up? Just say, please park, let me come down. Calm down, look for a way, go back and reverse that I do. Because at that point, you're not getting a divorce. Your marriage will be nullified because it has not been consummated. It's after it has been consummated that you now start talking about divorce. But at that point, it's not been consummated. So you can go back and nullify that marriage. It's not worth being in a relationship with the wrong person. It's not worth it for your self-esteem, for your goals, for your future, for your children, for everything about you. It's not just worth it. So if you find yourself in that situation, I would strongly suggest that you just let it go. Some things that might make you want to end the relationship is cheating, physical violence, emotional abuse, or causing you to do, if the person you're in a relationship with is causing you to do things that are against your faith and against your beliefs, I will strongly advise you to end the relationship. A friend of mine told me about someone who she knows, and the person, she said that now she's planning to leave her husband, she's planning to divorce, and she has children. She has two children and she just had a newborn. She's planning to divorce this person, her husband, in fact, run away from her husband. And guess what she said? She said when she got married to him, she knew on the wedding day, she knew that she had made a mistake. And then when she knew that she had made a mistake, what did they do? Prayer points. People around her knew. When she discussed with them, they started praying. There is no need to pray for some issues. Some things call for action. As you find out, if on that wedding day, when you find out, don't make it a prayer point. Just go back and go and tell the priest, I made a mistake. The I do came out before I could think. I don't, please. I can't spend the rest of my life with this person. Because you want to fulfill purpose. For me personally, when I was getting married, in fact, before I even share my personal story, let me share about my auntie. One of my aunties that my mom told me about. He said she was planning to get married on the traditional wedding day. When the man she wanted to get married to, they came to the house. One of his uncles was rude to her uncle. Either one of his uncles was rude to her uncle or he was rude to her uncle. She said to them, I'm sorry, I'm not getting married again. Now, you might find that to be extreme, but she knows what she saw. She knows what she thought about that made her say, because of this reason. It could have just been that she had even been managing. At that point, that was just the last thing that broke the camel's back, that she said, actually, I can't go ahead with this because I see danger. And today she's married with adult kids. She's married with adult kids, that those kids are even married. Some people, they don't, they're scared of saying no because they feel like, oh, if I say no to this person, who's going to get married to me? I'm clocking whatever age, I'm not going to get married. Well, my auntie said no on her traditional wedding day. And today she's married. She has adult kids that are also married. So don't be scared. That fear is not worth it. For me, when I got married, I kept asking myself inside, why are you choosing this person? Is this person the right person? One of the reasons why, in fact, the major reason why I chose my husband is firstly that we share the same faith. He's a born-again Christian. I noticed that he has a strong desire to please God and to do what is right. He's not perfect, but I noticed that we share a lot of values, and neither am I perfect, but we have lots of shared values. And I noticed that he also had values that make for a lasting relationship. And also, these values are values that I was aiming to develop within myself. And so when he asked me to marry him, I looked at all these things. There are some people that say, oh, when they were sleeping in their dream. In fact, a lot of us Nigerians, our pastor, they like to hear, oh, I dreamt and I saw him moving. They like to hear, as I was walking that day on the road, I heard the voice that screamed, he's the one. Some people actually hear these things, which is good, and I admire them. But a lot of us, we won't hear he's the one, but we still have that responsibility to do due diligence and choose the right person. So for me, it was this. First of all, the faith, the values, and there's another thing, is an inner conviction that you can look for. I searched within myself very strongly, even up to our traditional marriage. I had my traditional and my court marriage on the same day. Up to that day, I was still searching within myself. Are you sure this is the person? Are you sure this is the one? There are also some things that I had decided that if those things happen, then I would have to end the relationship. And one of it is, for me, my family, I come from a Christian family. I have a very strong level of trust within my family. For my family, we have shared values in my family, and I can trust my parents, I can trust my siblings, because I believe that they want the best for me. Now, everybody's in a different place, but this is decision I made for myself. I said to myself that if my family and my pastor, if they say no, and I look at that reason and they're saying, we don't believe that this is the right person for you, I would listen to them. And the reason why I said I would listen to them is because I trust them. I have a certain level of trust for them. All the years I've known them, they've always looked out for the best of me. They've done so much for me. They've committed to me. I've seen loyalty. I've seen faithfulness. And also from my parents and from my pastor, I've seen a relationship that I'd like to model my own marriage relationship by. because they've done so well with their own relation. My parents have been married for about 40 years, you know. So when I looked at their lives, I'm like, if these people have done all of this, then if they give me counsel and say you're going the wrong way, I'd have to take a step back, because they must know what they're saying. They've seen what I haven't seen. So that did not happen. On the wedding day, even if all of those people didn't say anything, and somewhere in my heart I felt like this is the wrong move to make, I was ready to end it. I didn't care. I was in a place where I told myself before that I don't care the cost to me, to my emotions. I don't care the cost financially. I don't care the cost of anything. If I feel like this is the wrong decision, I'm taking a step out. The reason why I'm emphasizing this is that so many people know on their wedding day that they're making a bad decision. Some people, they know that they shouldn't be going where they're going, but they go ahead and go. I'm hoping that if you're in that situation and you watch this video is going to give you the strength and the ability that you need to just say, okay, fine, no, and come out of that trap, because it's not worth it. All marriage is just like every individual. They go through ups and downs. The fact that somebody is the one, or somebody has the values you want or whatever, doesn't mean that there won't be issues. You know, there'll be ups and there'll be downs. Just like you, when you're single, sometimes you have good moments, you have things you're rejoicing about, you have things that make you sad, things that make you unhappy. It's the same thing with marriage. When two people come together, those things are bound to happen. So don't think that, oh, because I've chosen someone that fits the vision, someone that has shared values and all of that, then we won't have issues. That's not the right thinking to have. And finally, after you get married, note that you will most likely meet someone who has or does something that your partner does not do, or your partner does not have. You have to make a choice at that point. When you've done all you can, you know, for me, when I got to the point where I was saying I do, and I was saying yes, we're going through the traditional rites and everything, and as I was satisfied, when I looked within, I was satisfied that yes, this is the best decision I know to make at this time. I made up my mind that my husband is the right person for me. He's the only one for me. He's the right person for me. There's no other person out there. There's no other right one out there. There's no one that's better or whatever. This is a decision I'll strongly encourage you to make when you get to this point, because there will be temptation. There will be all manner of things out there, but of course, it's your responsibility to hit it off and say, no, I'm going past this one, devil, because my spouse is the right person for me. So that's a decision. Being in a long-lasting relationship is a decision in itself. It's a decision to be made. It's not about feelings, you know. It's a decision. And when you make the decision, when you make that first decision, it leads to a lot of decisions that follow on that will help sustain the relationship. I hope that this whole ranting of 47 minutes has been good for you, and you've been able to pick a thing or two about identifying the right person for yourself. If you'd like to talk to me about anything that I've shared, whether you agree, whether you disagree, I'm happy to listen to anything. I'm happy to have a conversation with you. Please send me a message or leave something in the comment section. Or if you'd like to share how you were able to identify that your partner is the right person for you, leave a comment in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending this time with me. See you next week. Bye.